Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Thanksgiving week edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. I'm Al DeMarco, along with Brandon Lang. You, of course, can tell because of the holiday we are not in the studio, but we felt like, what the hell, we might as well do the show since we handicapped all the games anyway. Brandon, interesting weekend. You scored again last week, a huge week for you, in fact. Another 150-dimer on Saturday in college football, number, what was that, 6 or 7 in a row?
6 in a row with Arkansas, 30-0. It's funny, 3 weeks ago, Texas went outright by 16, and I said, how am I going to outdo that? 2 weeks ago, we had Georgia Tech. They went outright by 22. I'm like, well, how am I going to outdo that? And we come back with Arkansas getting it done 30-0. So we figured out a way to do it. I don't see any big dogs on the card Saturday, but you know and I know we'll have 150 dime winner number 7 row available. And then as we get into the NFL card, again on Sunday, we jumped off the Arizona bandwagon and jumped on the St. Louis Rams for 100 dime winner in the NFL number 8 in a row. So good things happening on the website, and excited about this weekend as well.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, I've been saying all year long that Mississippi was a fraud. So when I saw Mississippi as a 2.5 to 3-point favorite, and of course I don't know who the handicappers have until I see the emails coming through customer service, and one of the handicappers at the site had a monster play on Mississippi. Now, I was on Arkansas the week before as a free play when they shut out LSU, and I thought, now is not the time to be on Ole Miss. You certainly were not. I was kind of surprised you jumped off the Arizona bandwagon, but I know you were glad you certainly did. St. Louis, that was a nip and tuck affair, but you cashed in with that 100-dimer. And let's start, in fact, for today's show here with the game between Arizona and Atlanta. Now, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you, that the line is so cheap here. I'm looking here at the website. Arizona only 2.5 points.
Yeah, misleading final, too. Bruce Arians said after the Seattle game, we left some plays on the table that could have changed the complexity of the football game. And he's right. 19-3 final, you think they were dominated. They really weren't. They were 1 or 2 plays away from being right in that football game. So now they get a chance to regroup. Now they get a chance to take a deep breath. And now they're facing a football team that they match up very well against. You got lockdown corners, so White and Jones aren't going to get off. You got Peterson and Honey Badger waiting there for him. The defensive line of Arizona is going to eat alive the offensive front of the Atlanta Falcons. I agree with you. I would think we'd see a 6.5, 7 number here, but we're not. We're getting great value at 3. We're back on them this week after taking a deep breath and staying away from them. Back with Arizona big time. Great spot for them and the perfect team for them to get right back after it. And Arizona will show you what they're made of simply because watch what their head coach does to get this team ready to play. Let's not forget, this guy is still 15-4-1 his last 19 on the Vegas board.
What amazes me is like how the bandwagon jumpers got off the bus in Seattle. I don't get it. I mean, okay, you played a tough game and you lost in Seattle. Okay, you won in Seattle a year ago, and I'm speaking of Arizona. You lost to the defending Super Bowl champions who were really playing for their postseason existence last week. It was a must-win game for Seattle. And suddenly, you're not laying at least 7 points against an Atlanta team whose coach mismanaged the clock last week and cost them a win against Cleveland. A Falcons team that hasn't done anything all season long, and a Falcons team that just has no defense. I mean, I think Atlanta's biggest problem during the offseason is they didn't address their defensive concerns, especially the pass rush. They have no pass rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, Mike Smith's on his way out. I think he's fired even once the season ends, he's gone. Matt Ryan and that offensive line, as I know, Al, we handicap games. If you can't protect your quarterback, you're going to have big-time problems, and his numbers are down. And then you look losing Tony Gonzalez. Nobody talks about that. You lose a guy like him, a Hall of Fame tight end, who rides off into the sunset, who was such a security blanket for him. It just wasn't in the cards for Atlanta, and if the Grim Reaper wasn't coming a knocking, the Arizona Cardinals will boost that on Sunday.
Hey, guys, remember, these are the games that we're breaking down. We're giving our free selections. If you'd like to get my best bet, Brandon's latest 100-dime NFL winner, absolutely free. All you've got to do is check out the one-day free all-access pass. And, Brandon, it's like when we talk about these things, people go, well, what if, or what's next, or what's the catch? There is no catch.
No, it's $1,000 value, absolutely free. If you wait till Saturday, you get 12 best bets. You get 150 dime winner number 7 in a row. If you wait till Sunday, you get 12 best bets and 100 dime NFL winner number 9 in a row. You choose which one you want to win with. $1,000 of value, absolutely free. It's my way of saying we've redesigned the website. We're rebranding Who I Am. Matt won the Academy Award. There's a whole generation of guys out there that don't know who Brandon Lang is. Come aboard, see the new website. Have a free day on me. You'll be glad you did, because as Al and I talk about all the time, one of my handicappers has the hot hand. Right now it happens to be me. So take advantage of that $1,000 absolutely free. In a business where everybody asks for something up front, we're asking for nothing. Have a free day.
Exactly. And guys, it doesn't matter if you could be here watching this video. Maybe you want Friday's action. You want Saturday, Sunday. The choice is yours. As I always say, the only way you lose is if you don't take advantage of something that's absolutely free. We do this to pull back the curtain. This gives you an example and a sampling of all the handicappers. They all are different in their methodologies and the way they break down games, but this gives you a consensus truly to check it all out. And you get it for free, as Brandon said. Listen, next game we're going to talk about, Brandon, let's take a look at the Baltimore game. Ravens, of course, I think put a nail in the Saints' heart on Sunday night, handing them their third straight loss at home. Baltimore now a 6-point favorite against the San Diego Chargers, a Chargers team that started the season 5-0 and looked like this was going to be the year. Philip Rivers, he's red hot. Oh, my gosh, has this team failed, and failed repeatedly here in Vegas, where they failed to cover 6 straight games.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's all about Philip Crimea Rivers. And if he plays well, this football team has a very good chance to win. But I can't get past the fact that he's never won in the state of Maryland. And their last trip east was in Miami, a complete and absolute debauchery where they were shut out by the Dolphins and Ryan Tannehill. And what I saw from the Ravens on Monday night, it seems to me that Joe Flacco and Gary Kubiak are kind of getting on the same page now. They're kind of really getting a feel for each other, showcasing Forsett, who had a big game on Monday night. And then on top of that, Steve Smith Jr., who's flat out doing it. I would love to use San Diego in this game because they are 12-5 and won their last 18 as an underdog. But you know what? I just think it's a bad spot for them with a Ravens team that's playing so well and seems to cover the number at home more than on the road. It's always a tough place to play. Their defense looked great on Monday night, and I think the right side of the game is Baltimore.
And you hit upon an interesting subject there. You know, the Ravens have covered 4 straight at home, but here they are, a home favorite, non-division game. They're 3-0 this year in that role, 34-13 their last 47, laying points at home outside of the division. 34-13. I mean, that's just a phenomenal number. You know, from a statistical standpoint, where I look at some of the games, I go, this San Diego defense, they couldn't stop Derek Carr. 4 touchdown passes at Oakland when the Raiders nearly upset them in a 31-28 loss. Their last 3 games, 37-0 shutout at Miami, 35 points, 28 points. That's the last 3 games on the road. That's what that defense has yielded. I think the Ravens are one of those teams. They've been so streaky this year, last year. I think this is where we're going to catch them on the upswing, and we might as well jump on the bandwagon and take Baltimore. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, I just, you know, we do these videos live. I just happened to get the light bulb going off. This is a great game to tease. This is a game that is begging to be a teaser, you know, taking Baltimore down to pick them in a 2-team 6-pointer.
Well, you know, we did that last week when we talked about, you know, Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. We talked about Philadelphia at home in a teaser situation in the over. It came in big time. You're right. You take the Ravens down to a pick 'em because in my lifetime, I don't see Philip Rivers going into Baltimore against that Ravens defense and playing well enough to get it done. And then on the hook side of that, take Arizona. They're -3, turn around, do a 6.5-point teaser, tease them up to +3.5. That is a teaser that I personally feel cannot lose. I know they say teasers are sucker bets, but here live for you teaser players out there who are looking for a teaser on Sunday, Arizona, rock solid with Baltimore. I don't think you can go wrong.
See, I think the uninformed think that teasers are sucker plays because you like teasers. I do. Different guys at the site, Shawn Michaels, Scott Delaney, into teasers, Craig Davis as well, who's had a heck of a lot of them this year. Heck, Shawn Michaels just hit a teaser last week, Denver and Green Bay. And, you know, there's a guy who's won 41 out of 61 teasers in football over the last 5 years. I think teasers are the type of thing. I personally look for teams, especially home favorites, where they're laying between 3 and 10 points, and I can take them down 6 points to a 3 to 4 point favorite or less. And just like you just said, if they just win the game, that's all I'm asking them to do. So, you know, It's not something I think that you go hog wild with, but an occasional teaser play is not a bad thing. Last game is one of the more interesting ones on the board here. Pittsburgh and New Orleans. The Steelers were lucky 2 Mondays ago to rally from that deficit, riding Bell to the rescue as they ran him to death for 203 yards for that comeback win in Tennessee. Before that, they lost at the Jets. But we remember when they were last at home, and Ben Roethlisberger, 12 touchdown passes in his last 2 home games, 3 straight wins for the Steelers. I think home cooking is what Pittsburgh needs. I think the New Orleans Saints need a total revamp because this team has to be rebuilt.
What do Mike Smith and Rob Ryan have in common?
They're both going to be joining Rex
the unemployment line. Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator for Saints. What's he have in common with Mike Smith? They're both going to be in the same employment line looking for the unemployment check so the season ends. Did you see Sean Payton stare down Rob Ryan Monday night? You could have froze with the evil stare of how bad the Saints defense was getting shredded by Flacco. They just can't get pressure on the quarterback, and that secondary can't hold up behind it. And Drew Brees really misses Darren Sproles. And I guess that's where it all started to go wrong for the Saints team, for losing a guy like that who was such a security blanket. Then Cook goes down, which was another huge part to their offense. And so when you break this team down, Graham with the drops, they're just not firing on all cylinders. And to lose 3 straight at home, that tells you it's over. Ryan's gone. I think Peyton's okay because of the Super Bowl win, but he's going to go elsewhere with his defensive coordinator. I really believe Rob Ryan's run is over. And so going into Pittsburgh, you often say being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, I think that's the case with the Saints here. They're a bad team outdoors on grass to begin with. Now they're rolling into a Pittsburgh offense that seems to be gelling with Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger. And I think the only way you can play this game on Sunday is to lay it with Pittsburgh because Polamalu's due back, ignites that defense. Another long day for Drew Brees.
When at the outset, the weird thing with these video conference calls is you can't talk at the same time. It's like walkie-talkie. You talk, one talk. That's how you go back and forth. I was going to say that Rob Ryan probably going to be joining his brother Rex at the unemployment line and at the dinner table next Thanksgiving. But you were right. I mean, there was a report early in the season, after a Saints collapse defensively, that there was a rift between Peyton and Ryan. Very few times do you see somebody fire their defense coordinator midstream. But I think you're right. He's going to get the pink slip. And the Saints team definitely misses Darren Sproles. And I think they gave him away for a 5th-round draft pick. I'll never understand it. I understand you got a salary cap. You got to worry about the money. But he was Drew Brees' check down. And he was so dynamic that even on those little dump passes, you always had a chance to take something small and make it into a big gainer. But you look at this team, 1-4 straight up on the road. They thought they got the monkey off their back after going to Carolina, winning 28-10. They were coming home, 3-game homestand, losing overtime to the 49ers. Get upset by the Bengals, lose to the Ravens, don't play any defense. And again, you look at Ben Roethlisberger's numbers at home, not only the 12 touchdown passes in the last 2 home games, but 19 TDs, 1 interception at home this season, 73% completions, 370 yards a game. And the Steelers scored 43, 51, and 30 in their last 3 games. So I'm with you. If you're going to play it, you got to lay it with Pittsburgh. And this is another game that I don't get the line. Why isn't Pittsburgh 6.5 at least? I understand it's, they didn't look that good on the road, but they're back at home.
Yeah, I think the Saints lose on Sunday. Atlanta loses on Sunday. And when the smoke clears at the end of the season, I think the winner of this division has 6 wins. I think 6-10 gets to host a playoff spot.
You better hope that one of those teams gets to 6 wins because it's going to be ugly at the way things are going.
Yep.
Well, that'll do it. So we're pretty much in agreement here. We both like Baltimore. Am I going to go out and bet Baltimore straight up? No, I would rather take Baltimore in a potential teaser. Matt, there's one. Hey, you can take Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the teaser because the Ravens and the Steelers are not losing at home in these games. We both like the Steelers and I wouldn't bet Atlanta if you paid me money to bet on the Falcons, so I have to ride with Arizona. And there's nobody in this business who's had a better finger on the pulse of the Arizona Cardinals than you, because before that winner on St. Louis last week, the 3 previous Sundays, you had 100-time winners on the Cardinals.
Yep, they've been very, very good to me. And there's another game on the board that I'm in love with more on Sunday, and that's going to be 150 dimer number 9 in a row. It's not a game we talked about. So Arizona will probably be the daily video free picker. I may throw in a couple. I may throw in a teaser like I did last week, but I like them this week. But there's a game I like a little bit more is number 9 in a row, so we're looking forward to it.
Okay, that'll do it for this week's show. Guys, remember the one-day free all-access pass is available on the site. You got to get it, and you're going to get our best bets and everybody here at the site for one day, absolutely free, over $1,000 value. For Brandon Lang, this is Al DeMarco, and we will catch you again next week here on the Countdown to Kickoff show.